Elderly woman's garden is ruined by bikers, then they learn her story. In the tranquil town of Oakville, Margaret Maggie Dawson tended to her cherished garden with the same dedication she had shown throughout her life. Each flower, shrub, and vegetable bed held a piece of her heart, a testament to the love she shared with her late husband, Henry, a decorated war hero. The garden was more than just a collection of plants, it was a living memory, a sanctuary where Maggie found solace and purpose in her golden years. As the sun rose over the quaint neighborhood, Maggie stepped outside, her weathered hands gently caressing the delicate petals of her prized roses. She inhaled deeply, savoring the sweet fragrance that filled the air. With a contented smile, she set about her daily routine, pruning, watering, and nurturing her beloved plants. Unbeknownst to Maggie, a storm was brewing on the horizon. The peaceful atmosphere of Oakville was about to be shattered by the arrival of the Iron Fangs, a notorious biker gang led by the ruthless Duke Slater. Their reputation preceded them, tales of chaos and destruction trailing in their wake. As the roar of motorcycles echoed through the streets, the residents of Oakville watched in apprehension, their once quiet lives suddenly upended by the unwelcome visitors. Maggie, lost in the serenity of her garden, remained oblivious to the impending danger that threatened to tear apart the very fabric of her existence. Little did the Iron Fangs know that beneath Maggie's gentle exterior lay a formidable strength, forged through years of service and sacrifice. The bikers, blinded by their own arrogance, were about to learn that true power resided not in intimidation, but in the unwavering spirit of a woman who had seen the worst of humanity and emerged unbroken. The Iron Fangs rolled into Oakville like a thunderstorm, their motorcycles growling menacingly as they claimed the abandoned lot near Maggie's home as their own. The once peaceful neighborhood trembled under the weight of their presence, the air thick with the stench of leather and gasoline. Duke Slater, the gang's leader, surveyed the town with a predatory gaze, his eyes gleaming with the promise of chaos. Maggie, absorbed in the solace of her garden, remained unaware of the gathering storm. She focused on the delicate task of pruning her beloved roses, humming softly to herself as she worked. The beauty of her surroundings served as a balm to her weary soul, a reminder of the love and memories she cherished. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the streets, the Iron Fangs grew restless. The abandoned lot became a hub of raucous laughter and clinking bottles, the bikers reveling in their newfound territory. Their boisterous revelry shattered the tranquility of the neighborhood, leaving the residents huddled in their homes, fearful of what the night might bring. Maggie, exhausted from a day of tending to her garden, retired to her cozy home, blissfully unaware of the gathering storm. She settled into her favorite armchair, a worn photograph of her beloved Henry clasped gently in her hands. As she drifted off to sleep, her thoughts filled with cherished memories of a life well lived. Little did Maggie know that her sanctuary was about to be violated, her cherished garden trampled underfoot by the very men who sought to terrorize her town. The Iron Fangs, drunk on their own power, were about to unleash a tide of destruction that would forever alter the course of Maggie's life and the lives of those around her. As dawn broke over Oakville, Maggie stepped out into her garden, ready to begin another day of nurturing her beloved plants. The air was crisp and clean, the dew glistening on the delicate petals of her flowers. She inhaled deeply, savoring the peace and tranquility that surrounded her. Suddenly, the roar of motorcycles shattered the stillness of the morning. The Iron Fangs, led by the ruthless Duke Slater, tore through the streets, their engines revving with a deafening fury. Maggie watched in horror as the bikers careened towards her garden, their tires kicking up dirt and gravel in their wake. In a matter of seconds, the sanctuary Maggie had so lovingly cultivated was reduced to a trampled mess of broken stems and torn petals. The bikers, their faces twisted with cruel laughter, rode through her garden with reckless abandon, destroying the vegetable beds and shattering the birdbath she and Henry had built together. Maggie, her heart pounding in her chest, stepped forward to confront the intruders. Her voice trembled with a mixture of fear and anger as she demanded they leave her property. Duke Slater, his eyes gleaming with malice, sneered at the elderly woman, mocking her as a helpless old lady. But Maggie stood her ground, her eyes blazing with a fire that belied her age. She refused to be intimidated by the bikers, refused to let them see the pain and devastation they had wrought upon her beloved garden. With a steely determination, she vowed to rebuild what they had destroyed, to restore the beauty and memories that had been so cruelly ripped away. As the iron fangs roared away, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake, Maggie surveyed the ruins of her garden. Tears streamed down her weathered face, but she refused to let despair take hold. She knew that the true strength of a garden lay not in its outward appearance, but in the love and resilience of the one who tended it. Word of the attack on Maggie's garden spread through Oakville like wildfire, igniting a spark of outrage in the hearts of the townspeople. They gathered in hushed whispers, their faces etched with concern and anger. How could anyone, even a gang of ruffians like the Iron Fangs, so callously destroy the cherished sanctuary of an elderly woman? As the community rallied around Maggie, offering their support and condolences, a murmur of surprise rippled through the crowd. Rumors began to circulate about Maggie's past, whispers of a life far more extraordinary than anyone had ever imagined. The frail, gentle woman they had known was not just a retired gardener, but a decorated war veteran, a former Special Forces officer with a history of bravery and valor. The revelation of Maggie's true identity sent shockwaves through the town, and even the hardened bikers found themselves taken aback. Duke Slater, his bravado faltering in the face of this unexpected revelation, began to question the wisdom of his actions. Had he underestimated the quiet strength of the woman whose garden he had so thoughtlessly destroyed? As the days passed, Maggie worked tirelessly to restore her garden, her determination unwavering in the face of adversity. The townspeople rallied around her, offering their time and resources to help rebuild what had been lost. Even some of the younger members of the Iron Fangs, moved by Maggie's resilience and the town's unity, began to question their allegiance to Duke Slater and his destructive ways. Maggie, her spirit unbroken, became a symbol of hope and resilience for the entire community. Her garden, once a testament to the love she shared with her late husband, now stood as a beacon of strength and unity in the face of adversity. As the flowers began to bloom once more, their petals reaching towards the sun, Maggie knew that the true power of her garden lay not in its outward beauty, but in the love and resilience of those who tended it. As the town of Oakville united behind Maggie, tensions between the residents and the Iron Fangs reached a boiling point. Duke Slater, his pride wounded by the growing resistance to his gang's presence, lashed out with increased aggression. The once peaceful streets became a battleground, with the bikers asserting their dominance through intimidation and violence. Maggie, however, remained steadfast in her resolve. She continued to tend to her garden, nurturing the delicate shoots that emerged from the ravaged soil. Her quiet strength and unwavering determination became a source of inspiration for the townspeople, who drew courage from her example. As the conflict escalated, Maggie's past as a Special Forces officer began to surface, her legendary exploits becoming the talk of the town. Stories of her bravery and tactical prowess spread like wildfire, causing even the most hardened members of the Iron Fangs to take notice. Duke Slater, his curiosity piqued by the tales of Maggie's military background, began to observe her more closely. He watched as she moved through her garden with a grace and purpose that belied her age, her eyes sharp and alert despite her gentle demeanor. Slowly, a grudging respect began to take root in his heart, a recognition of the true strength that lay beneath Maggie's unassuming exterior. As the town rallied around Maggie, small acts of kindness and resistance began to emerge. Neighbors banded together to protect one another, forming a united front against the bikers' intimidation. The local diner refused to serve the Iron Fangs, while the hardware store owner secretly provided supplies to help rebuild Maggie's garden. These acts of solidarity, though seemingly insignificant on their own, began to chip away at the bikers' resolve. Some members of the Iron Fangs, moved by the town's unity and Maggie's resilience, began to question their loyalty to Duke Slater and the destructive path they had chosen. As the conflict between the town and the bikers reached a critical juncture, Maggie's garden stood as a symbol of hope and transformation, a testament to the power of compassion and the strength of the human spirit. Amidst the growing tension between Oakville and the Iron Fangs, an unexpected encounter took place that would forever alter the course of the conflict. Duke Slater, his curiosity about Maggie's past consuming him, decided to confront the elderly woman directly. One quiet afternoon, as Maggie tended to her slowly recovering garden, the roar of a single motorcycle shattered the tranquil silence. Duke Slater, his imposing figure clad in black leather, dismounted his bike and strode towards Maggie, his eyes filled with a mixture of apprehension and respect. Maggie, her hands stilled by the sudden intrusion, turned to face the biker leader. Her eyes met his, and for a moment, the two adversaries stood in silence, each taking measure of the other. Duke Slater, his voice gruff yet tinged with a hint of uncertainty, asked Maggie about her past, about the stories that had become the stuff of legend in Oakville. To his surprise, Maggie invited him to join her in the garden, to hear her story firsthand. As they sat amidst the fragile blooms and tender shoots, Maggie began to recount her experiences as a Special Forces officer, the challenges she had faced, and the lessons she had learned about true strength and resilience. Duke Slater listened intently, his hardened exterior slowly crumbling as he found himself drawn into Maggie's tale. He saw in her a kindred spirit, someone who had faced adversity head-on and emerged stronger for it. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the garden, Duke Slater found himself questioning the path he had chosen, the life of violence and intimidation he had embraced. Maggie, sensing the biker's inner turmoil, offered him a chance at redemption, a way to make amends for the destruction he and his gang had wrought. She challenged him to use his influence to guide the Iron Fangs towards a different path, one of honor and respect, rather than fear and brutality. As Duke Slater left the garden that evening, his mind reeling with the weight of Maggie's words, he knew that a change was coming. The seeds of transformation had been planted, and it was up to him to nurture them, to lead his gang away from the darkness and towards a brighter future. In the days following Duke Slater's encounter with Maggie, a subtle shift began to take place within the ranks of the Iron Fangs. Whispers of change and redemption spread among the bikers, as Duke Slater's newfound perspective started to influence those around him. Some members of the gang, long disillusioned with the life of violence and chaos, found themselves drawn to the idea of a different path. They looked to Duke Slater for guidance, seeing in him a leader who could steer them towards a more honorable future. Others, however, remained resistant to change, clinging to the old ways of intimidation and destruction. They viewed Duke Slater's newfound interest in redemption as a weakness, a betrayal of the gang's core values. As tensions within the Iron Fangs reached a breaking point, Maggie's garden continued to thrive, a living testament to the power of resilience and the potential for growth in the face of adversity. The townspeople of Oakville, inspired by Maggie's unwavering spirit, banded together to support one another and protect their community from the bikers' increasingly erratic behavior. Duke Slater, torn between his loyalty to the gang and his growing desire for change, found himself at a crossroads. He knew that the path to redemption would not be an easy one, that it would require him to confront the demons of his past and the resistance of those who clung to the old ways. As he wrestled with his inner turmoil, Duke Slater found solace in the quiet moments he spent in Maggie's garden, drawing strength from the elderly woman's wisdom and the beauty of the life she had nurtured. He began to see the garden as a metaphor for his own journey, a reminder that even the most barren soil could give birth to new life, if only given the chance. With each passing day, the divide within the Iron Fangs grew deeper, as those who sought redemption and those who clung to the old ways found themselves at odds. The stage was set for a final confrontation, one that would determine the fate of the gang and the future of Oakville itself. As the conflict within the Iron Fangs reached a fever pitch, Duke Slater knew that the time had come to make a stand. He gathered those who shared his vision of a different future, a small but determined group of bikers who had grown weary of the endless cycle of violence and destruction. Together, they confronted the rest of the gang, their voices rising above the roar of engines and the clatter of chains. Duke Slater, his eyes blazing with a newfound purpose, challenged his former comrades to see the error of their ways, to recognize the path to redemption that lay before them. The confrontation quickly escalated, as those who clung to the old ways lashed out with fists and fury. The once united gang fractured, as brother turned against brother in a bitter struggle for the soul of the Iron Fangs. Amidst the chaos and the violence, Maggie's garden stood as a silent witness, a reminder of the beauty and resilience that could emerge from even the darkest of times. As the battle raged on, Duke Slater and his allies drew strength from the memory of Maggie's unwavering spirit, her quiet determination to nurture life in the face of adversity. In the end, it was Duke Slater and those who sought redemption who emerged victorious, their triumph marked not by bloodshed, but by the dawning of a new era for the Iron Fangs. The gang, once a symbol of fear and brutality, began to transform, guided by the principles of honor, respect, and compassion. As the dust settled and the wounds began to heal, the people of Oakville looked upon Maggie's garden with newfound appreciation, seeing in it a reflection of their own journey towards unity and transformation. The garden, once a casualty of the bikers' recklessness, now stood as a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of one woman's unwavering spirit and the strength of a community united. With each passing day, as the flowers bloomed and the scars of the past began to fade, Oakville and the Iron Fangs found themselves on a new path, one that led towards a brighter, more hopeful future, guided by the wisdom and resilience of a quiet, unassuming hero named Maggie Dawson. In the weeks that followed the transformation of the Iron Fangs, Oakville began to heal, the wounds of the past slowly giving way to a newfound sense of unity and purpose. The once divided community came together, united by their shared experience and the inspiration they drew from Maggie's unwavering spirit that had emerged from the darkest of times. The townspeople gathered there, young and old alike, to lend their hands and their hearts to the task of nurturing new life from the once ravaged soil. Duke Slater and his reformed bikers worked alongside the residents of Oakville, their once menacing presence now a source of strength and support. They tilled the earth, planted seeds, and tended to the delicate shoots, their rough hands gentled by the act of creation rather than destruction. Maggie, her eyes shining with pride and gratitude, watched as her garden flourished, a living testament to the power of forgiveness and the potential for change. She shared her wisdom and her stories with all who would listen, inspiring a new generation to embrace the values of compassion, resilience, and hope. As the garden blossomed, so too did the bonds between the people of Oakville and the reformed Iron Fangs. The bikers, once a source of fear and intimidation, found themselves welcomed into the heart of the community, their past transgressions forgiven in the face of their genuine desire to make amends. The garden became a place of healing, a sanctuary where the wounds of the past could be mended and the seeds of a brighter future could take root. It stood as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always the potential for growth, for transformation, and for the triumph of the human spirit. And at the center of it all stood Maggie, the quiet, unassuming hero who had shown them the way, who had proven that the power to change the world lay not in force or intimidation, but in the simple, unwavering act of nurturing life in the face of adversity. As the seasons changed and the years passed, Maggie's garden continued to thrive, a living symbol of the transformation that had taken place in Oakville. The once small town had blossomed into a vibrant, close-knit community, its residents united by their shared history and the bonds they had forged in the face of adversity. The Iron Fangs, now fully reformed and integrated into the fabric of Oakville, had become a force for good, their strength and determination channeled into projects that benefited the entire town. They worked alongside their neighbors to build new homes, to establish community gardens, and to create programs that nurtured the potential of the town's youth. Duke Slater, the once feared leader of the gang, had undergone a profound transformation, his life now dedicated to serving others and making amends for his past misdeeds. He worked tirelessly to inspire others, sharing his story of redemption and the lessons he had learned from Maggie's unwavering example. Maggie herself had become a beloved figure, not just in Oakville, but in the wider world beyond. Her story had spread, touching the hearts of people far and wide, inspiring them to embrace the power of resilience, compassion, and hope in their own lives. As the years passed, Maggie's garden continued to serve as a gathering place, a sanctuary where people could come to find solace, to connect with one another, and to celebrate the beauty and resilience of the human spirit. It stood as a testament to the power of one woman's quiet strength, and to the transformative potential of a community united in purpose. And though Maggie grew older, her spirit never wavered, her love for her garden and her community only deepening with each passing year. She knew that the seeds she had planted, both in the rich soil of her beloved garden and in the hearts of those around her, would continue to grow and flourish, nurtured by the love and compassion she had so selflessly shared. For in the end, Maggie's legacy was not just a garden, but a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always the potential for growth, for transformation, and for the triumph of the human spirit, if only we had the courage to nurture it. As the years continued to pass, Maggie found herself facing the inevitable challenges that come with age. Her once boundless energy began to wane, and the tasks of tending to her beloved garden grew more difficult with each passing season. Yet even as her body grew frail, Maggie's spirit remained as strong and vibrant as ever. She continued to inspire those around her, her wisdom and compassion a guiding light for the entire community. The people of Oakville, recognizing the debt they owed to their beloved Maggie, rallied around her, offering their support and their love in her time of need. The reformed Iron Fangs, now pillars of the community, took it upon themselves to ensure that Maggie's garden remained a thriving, beautiful testament to her legacy. Duke Slater, his once hardened heart now filled with a deep, abiding respect for the elderly woman who had changed his life, became a constant presence in Maggie's life. He visited her daily, tending to her needs and listening to her stories, cherishing every moment he could spend in her company. As Maggie's health declined, the entire town came together to honor her, to celebrate the life of the woman who had taught them the true meaning of strength, resilience, and compassion. They gathered in her garden, now a lush, vibrant oasis, to share their memories and their love, to offer their gratitude for all that she had given them. Maggie, her eyes shining with tears of joy and gratitude, looked out over the sea of faces, each one a testament to the impact she had made, to the lives she had touched. She knew that her time was drawing to a close, but she also knew that her legacy would live on, carried forward by the countless hearts she had inspired. In that moment, surrounded by the love and warmth of her community, Maggie felt a sense of peace and fulfillment wash over her. She had lived a life of purpose, a life dedicated to nurturing the best in others, and she knew that her work, her love, would continue to grow and flourish long after she was gone. As the sun began to set on Maggie's final day, the people of Oakville gathered once more in her garden, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that they would soon be saying goodbye to their beloved friend and mentor. Maggie, her frail body now confined to her bed, looked out over the garden she had so lovingly tended for so many years. The flowers were in full bloom, their vibrant colors a testament to the love and care she had poured into every inch of soil. Duke Slater, his eyes filled with tears, sat by Maggie's bedside, holding her hand and listening as she shared her final words of wisdom. She spoke of the power of forgiveness, of the importance of nurturing the good in others, and of the unbreakable bonds of community that had transformed Oakville and the Iron Fangs alike. As the last light of day faded and the stars began to emerge in the darkening sky, Maggie's breathing grew shallow, her heartbeat slowing to a gentle, steady rhythm. The people of Oakville, gathered around her bed, held their collective breath, each one silently offering their love and gratitude to the woman who had changed their lives. In her final moments, Maggie's face was serene, a small smile playing at the corners of her lips. She knew that her life had been a gift, a blessing that she had shared with all those around her. And as she took her last breath, surrounded by the love and warmth of her community, she knew that her legacy would live on, a shining beacon of hope and compassion in a world that so desperately needed it. The people of Oakville wept openly as Maggie passed, their hearts heavy with grief and loss. Yet even in their sorrow, they knew that Maggie's spirit would never truly leave them, that her love and wisdom would continue to guide them, to inspire them, to help them build a better, brighter future for generations to come. And as they laid Maggie to rest in the heart of her beloved garden, they made a solemn vow to honor her memory, to carry forward the lessons she had taught them, and to nurture the seeds of hope, compassion, and resilience that she had planted in each and every one of their hearts. In the days and weeks following Maggie's passing, the people of Oakville found themselves grappling with a profound sense of loss, a void that seemed impossible to fill. The garden, once a vibrant, thriving testament to Maggie's love and care, now seemed empty, a painful reminder of the light that had gone out of their lives. Yet even in their grief, the community refused to let Maggie's legacy fade. They came together, united in their determination to honor her memory and to carry forward the work she had begun. Duke Slater, now a respected leader in his own right, took it upon himself to organize a memorial service, a celebration of Maggie's life and the impact she had made on all those around her. The Iron Fangs, once a symbol of fear and brutality, now stood as a testament to the power of redemption, their presence at the service a powerful reminder of the lives Maggie had touched and transformed. As the community gathered to share their stories and memories of Maggie, a sense of hope and renewal began to take root. They spoke of her kindness, her compassion, and her unwavering belief in the goodness of others, even in the face of adversity. They spoke of the way she had transformed their town, not through force or intimidation, but through the simple, powerful act of nurturing life and love in the world around her. And as they looked out over the garden, now tended by the loving hands of the entire community, they began to see it not as a reminder of what they had lost, but as a symbol of what they had gained, a living testament to the power of one person to change the world. In the years that followed, Maggie's garden continued to thrive, a beacon of hope and resilience in the heart of Oakville. The community came together to tend to it, to nurture the seeds that Maggie had planted, both in the rich soil of the earth and in the hearts of all those she had touched. And as the flowers bloomed and the seasons changed, the people of Oakville knew that Maggie's spirit lived on, a guiding light that would continue to inspire them, to challenge them, and to remind them of the boundless potential for goodness and compassion that lay within each and every one of them. Years turned into decades, and the story of Maggie Dawson and the transformation she had brought to Oakville became the stuff of legend. Her garden, now a cherished landmark, stood as a testament to the power of one person to change the course of an entire community, to plant the seeds of hope and resilience in the face of even the darkest of times. The Iron Fangs, once a scourge upon the town, had long since disbanded, their members now scattered to the winds, each one carrying with them the lessons they had learned from Maggie's unwavering example of compassion and forgiveness. Duke Slater, the once feared leader of the gang, had become a pillar of the community, his life a shining example of the transformative power of redemption. He had devoted himself to serving others, to carrying forward Maggie's legacy of love and compassion in everything he did. And as the people of Oakville gathered each year to celebrate Maggie's life and the legacy she had left behind, they knew that her spirit would never truly fade, that her love and wisdom would continue to guide them, to inspire them, to help them build a better, brighter world for generations to come. For in the end, Maggie's greatest gift had not been her garden, or even the transformative impact she had made on the lives of those around her. It had been the lesson she had taught them all, the simple, powerful truth that each and every one of them had the power to change the world, to plant the seeds of hope and love in the hearts of others, and to watch them grow and flourish in ways they never could have imagined. And as the sun set on another year, casting its golden light over the vibrant, thriving garden that bore Maggie's name, the people of Oakville knew that her spirit would live on forever, a beacon of hope and inspiration for all those who followed in her footsteps, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there was always the potential for growth, for transformation, and for the triumph of the human spirit.